Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chronicles of Hollywood History, past, present, and future. Welcome. And here now, Corey Gomez.
Hello everyone and welcome to Chronicles of Hollywood History, past, present, and future. Today I am joined by Miss Patricia Summerland. You may know her as one of the Glow Girls. She was Sunny, the California girl in seasons 3 and 4. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you, Corey, for having me. I like the Hollywood Chronicle thing, though it kind of makes me sound like I'm aged, because I'm watching now the Christmas things, the Hollywood Chronicle, but the Christmas Chronicles.
Well, I have another website called The Movie Graveyard, and when you try to talk to people on that, they're like, why? What's wrong with my movie? Is it dead and buried? No, it's like, no, it's just a name. So, wrestling is part of television and Hollywood history. You were a Glow Girl, so it's the Chronicles of Hollywood History.
Absolutely. As we say, decades. I don't know if you caught what's going on now. I'll just say it really fast because we're really excited about our Afterglow musical that we performed 3 days in Hollywood, California last year, October. Oh gosh, can't remember the date, but that's what happens with concussions. I've had 8. So I do remember October last year, we were in Hollywood at the 1111 building performing Afterglow 80s musical. And we are up against Hamilton for an award for Los Angeles on Broadway, and it's posted all over social media. So I'm putting that out there, so if you could vote for us, that would be awesome. As the ensemble cast, Roxy Astor is up for clothing, costume design, Mary Kennedy, Sheena Meadows up for Best Actress, and then we've got Dan Magnus for choreographer. So if you can, vote for us, that would be so awesome. We're just honored to just be close with Hamilton because they were huge. That play was phenomenal, and here we are, Afterglow musical.
I'm sure your play was 1,000 times better. I saw Hamilton. It was very boring.
Really? You thought yeah. Well, I'm not going to say yay or nay, but they were so talented. If we could only sing half that good, and we kind of did sing in the Afterglow musical.
My favorite musical is Grease 2, if that tells you anything about my musical movie taste.
Oh, yes. Who doesn't love Grease? There you go.
Oh, no, not Grease. I didn't like Grease. I like Grease 2, because it was so awful.
Wow. So what is that's your favorite movie. What's your least favorite movie?
my least, that's not my favorite movie. That's my favorite musical. My least favorite movie? I don't know. I really hated the movie Emma with, God, who was the star? That was it, Gwyneth Paltrow. I remember might be Gwyneth Paltrow. If not, forgive me. I just remember being so bored I couldn't even fall asleep. I basically looked at a clock for 2 hours and counted down the minutes.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Actually, I haven't seen her in too much as of late, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Well, she's in all the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
So she's getting her Marvel money.
Oh, I know, right?
More power to anyone with Marvel money.
Oh, I have a Marvel comic artist, Rich Parada, who actually, I'm the first female pro wrestler out of all the divisions anyway, from WWE to Glow to anyone that you can mention, to have their first comic book done. So in the squared circle. So mine was the first to be published. So if you get a chance, I am selling those, by the way, signature, and it tells my story. But Rich Parada was the artist, and wow, he was amazing on it. And I actually have the original artwork. So he was with DC Comics and Marvel, and he's working on several other. Right now, he just finished Gangrel. So I'm up with all the legends. So I'm pretty honored to have that, and it tells some of my story as well. So get your comic book, too.
Now, I have to ask, when you started Glow, did you, I've sensed a pattern with some of you ladies that came in the 3rd season. Did you see the ad to try out on the first show? Is that how you tried, or did you, I guess, how did you find out about it to go and do a tryout?
Actually, I wasn't a wrestling fan of Glow. I was a wrestling person, if you will, meaning I was raised at the Olympic Auditorium with Freddie Blassie, Mr. Moto, all the original pro wrestlers. So at a young age, at 5 years old, I went to the wrestling ring with my family and then to the roller derby.
I love roller derby.
Yeah, and my father, one day on Saturday, he actually was watching Glow. I don't know how he came upon it or whatever. He had it on, and he called me out of my room and told me to come down and, come sit down and watch it with him. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. I was auditioning to do a commercial at that time. And I was an athlete, so I think, besides from all the girls, because most of them said, oh, no, they weren't an actress or they weren't involved in any of that type of background. But I was, since I was 5, so I was always in showbiz, and then I was an athlete. I started running. I did mini marathons. I did the relay races and competed against the men because the women were too slow. So I won many awards in track and field, if you will. So that was my background, and but wrestling was far from me thinking I could ever wrestle, because I went, into sports modeling, which I modeled swimwear and things like that. So I was a model and then actress, but, we always say model actress, but we did commercials to survive. Mm-hmm. So when my dad called me out and said, sit down, he said, you should do this. And I'm like, what? I can't do this. There's no way. I was watching these girls, all different shapes and sizes, just kicking butt in the ring, and I'm like, oh, yeah, no. And he talked me into it. At the end of the Glow series, at the end of it, at the bottom, it was saying, do you want to be a Glow girl?
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Right? So he told me to send in my headshot and, my credentials and stuff, so I did. And I get a phone call probably a week later, was it a week, maybe a week or two, and it was in Lancashire in North Hollywood, where I went to try out. I got a call, and I went there, and I walked in, and I'm not kidding. There was I don't know how many girls, 350 maybe. It was unreal, and I'm like, I'm never going to get this. Never, never, never. And, well, long story short, I did. So, and I didn't have to change a thing. I was the fun and sun girl, blonde, tan back then, because I would go to the beach all the time. So I was every bit of my character, other than the dingy part that Matt incorporated about the knock-knock jokes, because he was building me up to be like his wife at the time who had passed away, Jane Mansfield. So he was widowed to Jane Mansfield, and he said, you have the same look, you look just like her, and I'm going to make you this. And that's pretty much what I was, what Sonny was, evolved. And then he had asked me what my hobby was, and I said, well, I love to sing, because that's what he did with all the girls, to find out their background and, to incorporate with their character. And none of us got to pick our character. I had no say-so in it. They did that for me. And I said, well, I love to sing. And he goes, okay. So he came back to me and he said, oh, we're going to incorporate singing with knock-knock jokes for you. What do you think about that, Sonny? And I'm like, what? I go, really? Singing knock-knock jokes? And I was like, no. How am I going to do that? So obviously I ended up singing knock-knock jokes in the ring to, make my opponent come after me. I would sing, Tanks when I fought Corporal Kelly, Tanks for the Memories, which was a Bob Hope, spinoff, and, certain things like that. So it was pretty fun. And I had a frisbee come out for the little girls in the audience and stuff. And then my surfboard. Oh, here's one for you, Spuds McKenzie.
I remember
Talk about nostalgia. So I brought Spuds out to the ring with my surfboard, and he'd sit on the turnbuckle. Yeah, me and Spuds go way back. I do have an original Spuds alarm clock here that a dear friend of mine who was a fan of Glow and a fan of mine sent that to me, and then original Spuds canvas high tops. So I'm going to actually be giving those out to a fan next year at an event signing. That'll be a lot of fun.
I had a T-shirt with a Coors truck running Spuds McKenzie over. I remember that much when I was younger. So.
Right? Yep. That's cool.
Now when you were in Glow, were you surprised? Because when Glow ended at season 4, you guys had a magazine, you were touring, you were still doing good ratings. You had there were Donnie or Sally Jesse Raphael had Glow Girls on, Family Feud had Glow Girls on multiple occasions, and then all at once the show just stopped. I mean, were you surprised that it ended?
I was, because I had left just before it ended, which I tell that story in the Afterglow musical, and I do tell the story in many interviews that my father had taken ill, and he had actually passed away, so I was called out of the ring in one of my matches because I wasn't really focused that night. I was upset because I had talked to my mom earlier, and she said that he wasn't doing well. So the same time I was in the ring, and Matt had came and pulled me out of the ring and said, "You better go, you've got another phone call." So I got the call, and that was the longest, I don't know, from Vegas to Long Beach I ever had, that my mom said, "You've got to get here, your dad's not going to make it." I'm like, what? So he never actually got to see me wrestle live, but I did get there in time, and I stayed with him in the room for 5 days. He was in and out, of course, of being coherent and things like that, but I did tell him I loved him. I said, "Daddy, I'm wrestling." He goes, "I know, baby." He goes, "I'm so proud of you." And I never returned because Glow ended. I did return after my father died with hopes of going back, but I got the shock of my life that it was over. The girls I thought it was a joke when they were telling me. They're like, "Sonny, there is no Glow. It's gone." And I'm like, no way. I went to Las Vegas to see for myself. And, yeah. And so, we all have our story, how and why. So we kind of know, what happened. And it was due to another Glow girl that had an affair with the owner, which is Monsieur Limrickless, who owned, and he owned the Riviera Hotel, Fabergé Brut. And he is out, since passed on. But, yeah, and it was pretty sad and tragic because we were all looking forward to, returning. I was, but not only that, doing the Glow movie. This Glow movie we were all excited about to do. And that was it. No more Glow. But I remained in Vegas and started a show called Battling Beauties, where Benny, who was the referee in Glow, he helped me build a wrestling ring and off the strip, and I starred and headlined on the billboard to bring a crowd in, and it was straight pro wrestling in oil, which is pretty tough to do. So that was a lot of fun. So that took like a couple months, and then I went into modeling for the NFL. I did the calendar, the tight end, and several calendars for the Rams, Raiders, New England Patriots, and Miami Dolphins. So I went into that road, and the rest, oh boy. Well, they're doing the book and movie on me because the rest is pretty. Yeah, welcome to Las Vegas. And here I thought I had Vegas down, but nope, no clue. Because Glow kind of protected us girls and kind of sheltered us. So when it was over and I went back to there, I was in a whole different world.
Yeah, because you ladies had curfews and everything, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We were, that's why Glow Netflix, the series, was so far off base. It was nothing like the way we had it. Not even from their dingy apartments, because we didn't have dingy apartments like that.
Did you have nice apartments?
Yeah, we had nice apartments.
Okay.
And I actually lived in the Glow house, which was Joan Crawford's house that we filmed the skits and everything in. So it was pretty cool. There was a pool that came inside the house. It was really glamorous. It was right off Tropicana, off the golf course. Of course, all that's gone now. All that history's gone in Vegas. When I go there now, I'm like, oh my God. It's never the same, and it never will be. I'm such a nostalgia girl, I don't like the new. Like you, I love the nostalgia and the history. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what are your thoughts of the Glow show? Were you a fan of it, or did you think it got too much wrong?
I actually liked it. The first season was kind of Second, definitely. Third, loved it. Even though it was way off, we're like, what? That didn't happen. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. But it was because they brought the girls together and the characters and the wrestling. They had wrestling finally. They were finally showing wrestling, not this far out other crap, because that's not what existed. And we didn't have a robot that brought us cocaine.
That would have been such an amazing invention, too.
Right? I know. I'm sure in the 80s that has happened. I'm pretty sure.
Had one. Somebody had to have had one in the 80s. Probably has one now.
For sure. But that wasn't us. But, the girls were great actresses, and there was Queen Kong, who was really a professional wrestler. She did great. I have no sadness or no grief, or we were very thankful and honored that they did the show based upon us girls. And we actually got to meet them at the WWE, myself, Roxy, and Daisy and MTV. They didn't know we were there. We didn't know they were going to be there. And we all kind of met. So that was cool. I got to meet, because my favorite is Betty Gilpin. I love Betty Gilpin from Nurse Betty, or Nurse, whatever it's called.
Nope, you're right, Nurse Betty.
Nurse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so good. And she was great in it. So I loved her. And so it was great to see her, and Allison Brie, of course. Yeah.
They were
kind of, they were like, oh my God, we finally get to meet you. We're like, yeah. Wow, so what are you seeing? Do you think we're doing a good job? They were asking us. And we're like, yeah, really great,
I always found it odd they didn't have, at the least, 10 of you girls, on set for that, just to, for consultation that, with costumes.
Yeah, real stories.
I never got that.
Yeah, real stories like cameos and things like that, and they should have, but they couldn't. Reason being is the girl who sold the script was the same girl that ended Glow by having the affair with Meshulam. She's the same girl that stole the material from Miss Roxy Astor, which I still don't know why she hasn't did anything, but better things are coming, so time to move on. But she took the script and sold it to Netflix and got a nice sum of money. And it didn't include any of us girls.
See, and I mean, that's what you need. I'm of course, a film historian, and I'm a comic historian as well. The reason these Marvel movies are so successful, if you watch the credits, here you've got every artist known to man that's ever drawn that character, and they're there to oversee the costumes and the everything. It's like, you couldn't have got some Glow girls there to help make it even more authentic. I didn't think that was right. That was my only complaint I had, because I did like the series, because it was kind of fun for me to, as you're watching it, you're remembering, years ago what storylines they're playing out on TV. But it was just because you had other wrestlers, WWF wrestlers, popped up in training the Glow girls in the first season. Why couldn't they just had some V girls do it? It never really added up to me. I didn't like that.
Yeah, no, Chavo Guerrero was the trainer, but Mondo Guerrero actually trained the first season girls. Mm-hmm. Our trainer was Danuchka and Debbie Debutante. So, yeah, we had two Glow girls that trained us.
Out of all the girls that went, because, of course, Tina Ferrari, for those that don't know, went on to WWE Hall of Famer Ivory. I always figured it would be Nanuchka that would go on to, WWE.
Oh, I know. I loved Nanuchka. She kicked ass. I loved working with her, and I loved her training us. She was brilliant. She was a brilliant character. She was one of the best, if you ask me.
And she was big, and I don't mean that derogatory, because she wasn't, big, in a bad sense. I mean, she, with the exception of Mount Fiji and Queen Kong, I mean, she was probably one of the biggest girls over there. But she was very athletically big, I guess is how I should say it. But yeah, I figured she would go on to be a WWE, WCW girl. But after Glow, I never saw her again.
No, that's it. She's one that went away from Glow right away. Yeah, there's quite a few that did not want anything to do with Glow after it was done. They were hurt, they were bitter, whatever it was, or they just went on with their lives and lived their lives, because that's the thing where fans always ask, they're like, how come you guys aren't, friends? Well, we weren't really, how do I say this? There's the heel and the baby face, or the bad and the good back then in Glow, that we were always apart, because Matt didn't want the fans to see that we're socializing. We have to make it as real as possible. So behind the walls, we had our cliques with the girls, But most of us don't really know each other per se throughout these years because we've all went and led our own lives, and we all live in different states, had married, got, like Roxy and I, we have children and got married and things like that, where some other girls didn't have kids, and they led different lives. So, we don't know each other anymore. Because everyone's like, oh, you guys all should get along. No, we don't get along. We don't approve of this, or one girl doesn't like this, or one girl doesn't like that. Who knows?
Well, and a lot of wrestling was, back in the day of like Florida Championship Wrestling, if you got caught, if the heel and the babyface got caught in public together, they'd get fined or fired. Back then that was taken even though Glow wasn't like a serious show, no, all that was taken very, very kayfabe, very seriously back then.
And that's same with us. We would have gotten fined. Matt would have gotten so mad if we would have got caught in public. So even on our tour, we had to separate on the bus. And when we exited the bus, we had to hate each other and act like we were starting to fight, And we played it to the hilt because nobody did have a clue, but they think now that we should all get along. We're like, but it's been 33 years. We don't know each other. We all went our separate ways, It's like school.
When 50 people from WWE back then, half of them probably never even knew each other other than the little bit of time they'd spent in the ring.
Exactly. So that's what I tell a lot of fans, and, maybe some are disappointed, but, what can we do? We're still all Glow girls. It doesn't matter. We all have our lives, and we all love our fans, and that's what should matter, the most important.
And so, some of you ladies are very hard to track down.
Yeah. But I think I was on Facebook. I don't know how or why, but someone got me on there and then found out I was Sunny, and that's where it all started. I think it was like 2008, 2007, something like that, when Facebook started. So I have been on there as Patricia and then Sunny. I didn't want to use Sunny as my main name, only because, again, Facebook was so cool to reach out to family. Mm-hmm. And I have that past where I don't know half my family and so on and so forth. So it's been really amazing to me, and I found many lost loved ones through Facebook, and it's been a real wonderful journey, a positive journey. And then plus for me in my political realm and my talk shows and my radio show, being on now for 9 years on American Adversaries, and back then, if you would have asked me if I wanted to do radio, like Kiss FM and stuff, I did all those. I was on as a guest, and when I would stop, they'd ask me, like, you should do this. You're really good at it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then years later, boom, there I am. And it just took that time and space for me to go, well, maybe I guess I'll try it. Sure, let's do this, So never give up what you're doing, because you will get it.
For you, it's a dream job. I would love to do radio.
Yes, I love it now. Are you kidding? I enjoy it. It's so much fun. And I would have never thought, though, back then. I'm like, okay, it's so strange. But and then my talk show, to have guests live in studio at CRN Studios, I was interviewed by the top guy from Rick Dees, and I can't remember his last name, Bob something, but he's huge. He's the one that made Howard Stern famous, if you will. So I'm sitting there in a meeting with him. I was a little nervous. I'm like, but hey, I got it. But now the hard part is getting sponsors, because you're responsible for those sponsors, and to keep them on there, to keep the show going, especially nowadays, because everybody has podcasts. Where back in the day, it was so different. Radio was easy. Now it's became a lot harder because there's so much competition with the podcast. So, yeah. But, it's enjoyable, and American Adversaries was a hobby for me. And I've been with them now 9 years, not knowing. And they're a great group of people, and I'm pretty blessed. And I can't wait to see them. I look forward to seeing them because they're in Florida. I'm the only one out here in California.
I was just going to ask, you don't record in studio, you record in your home, correct?
They call me, yes. Now, when I go there, I'll record in studio with them, and I feel right at home. And I almost want to go. They said, you should come out here and just be here with us, And, but I'm such a California girl, I've been here, well, I don't know. I'm 56. I've been here probably 50 years, off and on, I've lived in other places, but I have always came back. So I love Arizona. I will say that, because it's one of the states that I may end up going back to, or Florida. Who knows? We will see.
I plan on moving to Florida one day, so that's where I'd like to live.
Yes, it's close to California, meaning it's sunny, and I love the weather there. You can't beat it, and the beaches are great. So for me, I would still love it. Not the hurricanes.
Yeah,
No, thank you.
You go inside for that. Before the pandemic hit, we would go there twice a year. We'd spend a couple weeks there in the summer. We'd spend Christmas there. So it was no brainer that we all want to actually live there one day.
Right? Yes, this is true. Yeah, this pandemic it's been a tough year, for all of us, and I've lost a lot of friends, and near and dear, very, very close, and I wasn't able to see them. It's just difficult, and we're not over it yet. Now looks like we're going to go in a full lockdown again.
Because there's so many, and this is my opinion, and I think I've said it before, because people won't listen or don't take it seriously, I'm one of the people out there that am not against a lockdown. We have a mask mandate here. I wear a mask, plus I don't want to catch your germs anyway, even if there isn't a pandemic, so I wash my hands, I use hand sanitizer. But where I am, a lot of people are selfish. They won't wear a mask. They don't want to wash their hands. They're just not doing anything to help the situation. So unfortunately, then, if you want to be treated like an adult, you have to act like an adult, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Exactly. I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if everyone did what they were supposed to do, no one would tell them what to do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I do know a lot of people that have got COVID and they've recovered right away, or they never even had symptoms almost. And then I've known some that, have passed away from
I had
it.
horrible symptoms, but I recovered from it, thank God.
Oh, good. Yeah. It's so bizarre, though, how it affects, each individual. It's, the flu, you can kind of say, okay, yeah, you had the flu. We all get that. But this one is so different. That's the tricky part, I think, and they don't even know.
Well, it felt like a bus hit me, and I had a fever for like 10 or 12 days, sick as a dog. My wife had it as well. She got it from me, and she couldn't smell or taste. And other than that, no fever, no body aches, nothing. Had she not gotten tested, she probably never would have known she had it.
Wow.
It's just so creepy how everyone is different.
Yeah, that is. That's really bizarre. That's the thing with this, and I just wish they'd figure out. Well, they've got this, cocktail coming out, and they are treating people with it now. I understand, but let's hope that will help, because something's got to. Because I don't foresee it's going away anytime soon.
No, and the vaccine should be, if the FDA wasn't on a Thanksgiving break or whatever the fuck they're on, we should have a meeting here about the vaccine on the 10th of December now. So hopefully that meeting lasts a day or two and they can start sending it out.
Yes, I think so.
Yes, I don't understand why they're waiting 2 weeks to have this meeting when the companies wanted to present it the other day.
I know. Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't get it. Luckily, my wife, my wife works for a hospital. So, the hospital people, they're the hospital that we're at is partnered with a lot of these companies. So maybe I can get on the friends and family plan and actually get the vaccine a little earlier.
Right?
Because I'll take it. I mean, everybody's like, well, the side effects are some of the symptoms. It was like, well, I'd rather have the symptoms than the actual disease again. I'll take that.
Right. Exactly. I know. I haven't had a flu shot. They keep wanting to give it to me because, number one, my age or whatever, but I haven't. I had the swine flu in 2009 in third degree and I almost died from the swine flu. I'm pretty, I want to say I'm pretty tough as far as the immune system, because I fought it on my own. I still don't know how today. I almost had a heart attack, they said, from it. But I refused to go to the hospital, and my daughter said I was falling on the floor, literally, and nothing was staying in at both ends. That was it. I thought I was going to be dead. And I was in a room for 3 weeks, spitting up nothing but, nasty stuff. Just, yeah, it was just bad. I will never, ever forget that, ever. That was horrible. So I think for this, I've talked to doctors, not that they even know, but they said, well, that's probably why you're not getting COVID, or because if you do, you're going to have a resistance, because the flu was a pretty tough one.
It was your glow training that helped you overcome it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have a high tolerance for pain. That's for sure. Yeah. That's came and went. But, I'm still cautious, and I do obey all the guidelines because I don't want it, and I don't want to give it to my family or anyone else, So we must stay proactive for sure. I do have friends that don't believe in the masks, and I'm like, well, then I don't know what to tell you. What are you going to do? You have to wear it when you go out. So you can sit there and say blah, 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 that, you're against the mask, but we have to wear it. So, oh, well.
I look at them as fashionable now. I have about 10 of them. Some of them I paid upwards of $60 for, and no, I feel weird now when I don't have one on.
I know. There's times I forget that it's on, too. I'll get in the car and I'll leave it on. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm driving. Need this on.
I try to match them to my shoes and everything, you gotta, as long as you got to wear it, have a little fun with it.
Right, exactly. I know. I made a mask. My girlfriend makes really, really nice, specialty design masks. So I had got Roxy one, a Roxy Afterglow, and then I have my Sunny Glow mask. It's pretty cool. And I think we got Dan one too. But yeah, you might as well. Got to have fun, and then you have those throwaway ones, which are good too.
Yeah, I buy mine from Shop Lucha. They make Mexican wrestling masks that are actually face masks. So that's where I've been getting all mine from since this started. So I have a whole collection of Lucha Libre face masks.
Wow, that is cool. That is very cool.
Hey, it's better than those blue throwaway things that I have in my basement. So what the heck?
Right. Yep.
Now you
I hear ya.
Other than now you do radio, and you said that Afterglow votes are coming out. What other plans do you have for when all this ends?
Oh my goodness. Well, like I was talking about earlier, hopefully we have that, possible show, which we can't really talk about yet, but that, and then I have my autobiography, a book, and that will be made into a movie. So I'm pretty excited about that, and that's in the works. So those things right there, that's like a huge step and accomplishment. It's nerve-wracking. It's scary. It's because it brings up everything. When you do your autobiography, and it's so much. So, and I'm one of those girls that has paper trail. I keep everything, so I have all my stuff. Original documents and things like that to go with this. So that's going to help, and it's going to help for the movie and stuff because, there's a lot of twists and turns, and it's all real, all true story. And what I'm doing is to put this out to help others in their career, to help girls out there who thought they were tough and smart and, a lot of pitfalls. As we know, the Me Too movement has happened. We have sex trafficking, children trafficking. We have so many things going on now that all the stuff that I went through in the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s, even up, which we'll talk about the individual, but Ken America's Most Wanted, he was my own manager, but that gives you an idea of my story. So, yeah, what this will do is hopefully help a lot of people that want to get into showbiz or are in showbiz, or they're stuck, they don't know what to do, or they've They don't know where to turn. They're scared. They're frightened. You know, a lot of different avenues. We're talking sexual abuse, rape, you know, which Harvey Weinstein we know did. And so all this stuff is coming full circle, but it was already there years ago.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
And so, yeah, I was on, I think it's America's Most Wanted. What was the other one?
Unsolved
I can't
Mysteries?
remember. Unsolved Mysteries. That's it. Thank you. Myself and the other girl that he raped at that time. It was in a hotel in Vegas. But, yeah, so this will, you know, shed some light on that. Also, my family life, my handed over when I was a child, all these wonderful things that, you know, make me who I am today. A really, you know, sympathetic, empathetic person because I've been through certain things, and I had a drowning when I was young, and I flatlined for 4 minutes. I actually passed away, caused my mom to have a heart attack because they called my parents and said I died, which I did, but obviously I was brought back. Mm-hmm. So there's all these things that'll be in this book and movies. So, yeah, it's pretty, it sheds a lot of light and a lot of memories for me, and a lot of healing as I you know, do this. And I totally understand all those other actors out there that have their books out and their autobiography, like even like Nancy Sinatra, Frank Sinatra, Elvis, all these. I love it. I get so enthralled in their stories, and it's amazing to me, you know. And here I am now doing one. So, because I was always that little girl who would read books. I was interested in like the romance novels, all the good stuff, you know, not the crazy stuff that my life ended up being. However, now I'm settled as settled can be. I have 2 beautiful daughters, 2 grandsons, and very thankful. And I live a very quiet, humbled life up here in the mountains, and very safe, and, you know, have my fur babies and simple life, and I love it, you know. To me, that's what life's about, is being thankful. And, you know, by the way, happy Thanksgiving that we're getting near. And, you know, that's important to say thank you, you know, and thank you to our blessings that we do have each and every day.
Do you, when does the book come out?
Well, that's kind of up to me because I've been kind of lagging. I've gotten, because I actually had 2 authors that were going to do my book, but one was a male, and he's really a male figure, and he was really good. He has many books out, and he came to me and wanted to do it, but then he said, I'm going to give you a male version when it's a female story. It's based upon you. It's your story. And you're female, he goes, it won't come out the same. And I never thought about that. I'm like, wow, yeah, I guess you're right about that, because most usually tell their story from their point of view. If they put a male figure, gives them the male, like, you know, in the story. And he said that wouldn't be right. So anyway, I ended up writing my own right now. And then from there, I have a New York publishing company that's interested. So it's pretty much up to me that I have to finish the book, the writing of it, I should say. And then from there, I'll have the co-author that will edit and do all that stuff, the editor, and then we'll take it from there. And then Lifetime was interested in my story back in 2005, which now they're still interested. So it could be a 3-part series, or I'm even thinking reels, something like that. Mm-hmm. We shall see. Yeah.
Now, for all your fans out... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have to finish A first, so that would be the book, and it's going to be a long one. So, yeah, it'll be like one thick book or a 3-part, you know, series, according to what authors are saying. So, and I have no idea what I'm doing. You know, I'm just writing my story. I am not an author. Don't want to be. It's not my thing, but I can tell my story, you know, so much easier than writing it. It's very tedious and it's hard, and, you know, it's not easy. I don't envy those guys who write great books and, you know, novels. I mean, it's incredible. It takes a lot of patience, you know. So But yeah, it will be done. So let's hope within the next year. I will definitely keep you posted, and it will definitely be out there for sure.
Now, for all your fans out there, do you have a website or Twitter, Facebook? Where can they find you?
I do. I have a Facebook, Patricia Summerland, under my real name. I have a fan page that I don't go to too much. I apologize. I tend to talk to everyone under Patricia Summerland. But I do have Sunny, the California Girl fan page on Facebook. I have a Twitter, Glow Sunny. I have Instagram, Patricia Summerland. I also have LinkedIn under Patricia Summerland. I have Studio 32 and many more. You could just find me. Just Google me about But I will talk to you. I'm not one of those, so-called wrestling stars that sometimes kind of don't have time. I always make the time.
Oh, that's nice. That's the one thing I have to say about all you lovely ladies from Glow. You're very, very nice, very accommodating to all the fans.
Well, if it wasn't for the fans, we wouldn't be anything, and I think that's where the appreciation starts because, I'm a fan of many things, and I look at it from both sides. You have to in life, and I appreciate each and every fan, and some of the fans are family now to me. I have a couple really, really good, close friends that stay here at my house, for instance. So, yeah, I definitely appreciate them, and you never know where the story goes, with us, and we love our fans, absolutely, and we're thankful they love Glow, and that they've held on for so many years. We had, like yourself, in the audience when they're young, and they see us now, and they're like, gosh, we were fans of you back then. We were in the audience, and that's so cool, and they went on our cruises with us, the Afterglow fan party cruises that we've had, and we get to, hang out with them each and every day on the cruise, and it's so much fun. And that's how we build up, friendship with them. And they're just like, wow, I can't believe I'm talking to you. I'm having coffee with you or breakfast or dinner, and we're out dancing, whatever, and, well, we're just people, That's what I say. We're just people. We're just in a different career. So.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I want to thank you so much for joining us today. I'm sure all your fans will love to hear this.
Thank you, Corey, and it's been a lot of fun, and I wish you a lot of continued success. I know you're going to be great.
Well, thank you.
Don't give up that dream.
No, and I hope
they need you.
We'll need to have you back on here when the book's closer to being done.
I would love to. I would be honored. Thank you.